My family betrayed me. They took everything, my money, my home, even my identity. But I didn't break. I swore I'd come back, and when I did, they would pay for every lie, every wound, every stolen piece of my life. At first, everything seemed normal. We had Sunday dinners together, we celebrated birthdays, and I truly believed blood was thicker than water. My parents, my brother Daniel, my sister Clara, everyone pretended like we were one big happy family. But little by little, things began to change. I noticed the way Daniel looked at me when I talked about my business. He never celebrated my successes. Instead, there was this sharp glint in his eyes, like jealousy mixed with hunger. Clara always asked questions about my bank accounts, about investments, about what would happen if I disappeared. At the time I laughed it off. I thought it was curiosity. I couldn't have been more wrong. One night after a late meeting I came home to silence. No laughter, no warm lights. Just darkness. When I opened the door my house felt wrong. The living room was empty. Furniture gone. Walls bare. I ran upstairs, closet stripped, safe wide open. Every dollar, every document gone. And then I saw it. A note on the kitchen counter. Just 4 words, written in Clara's handwriting. This is for us. They didn't just rob me. They erased me. My accounts were drained, my name blacklisted, and my family vanished without a trace. That was the night I died as the man I used to be. And the night I was reborn with one purpose: revenge. For weeks I lived like a ghost. No money. No family. No place to call home. I slept in motels that smelled of mold, ate cheap takeout, and stared at the ceiling wondering how everything could vanish so quickly. But anger is a powerful fuel. And I refused to stay down. I began digging. Every contact, every connection from my past, I called them one by one. Most doors slammed in my face. My brother and sister had already poisoned my name. He's unstable, they told people. He lost everything gambling. Lies carefully crafted to make sure no one would help me. But then I found something they hadn't covered up. A small clue. A transfer from my old account, millions wired into an offshore bank in the Caymans. And the names on the account? Daniel and Clara. That was the first crack in their armor. I tracked Daniel first. He always loved flashy things, and sure enough I found him in Miami driving a brand new sports car, living in a glass tower overlooking the ocean. He thought he was untouchable. I watched from the shadows. Days turned into weeks. I learned his schedule, when he went to the gym, when he met with his so-called business partners, when he stumbled drunk out of nightclubs at 3 a.m. Clara, though, she was smarter. She disappeared. No credit cards, no social media, no digital trace. Like she had vanished into thin air. But I knew my sister, she loved control. She loved to play games. And if she was hiding, it meant she was pulling strings from the dark. That made her more dangerous than Daniel. I couldn't go to the police. Who would believe me? To the world I was broke, paranoid, and disgraced. No, this had to be handled my way. Quietly. Patiently. And so I began to build. I took under-the-table jobs fixing computers, hacking security systems, doing things most people wouldn't dare to try. I learned how to move in silence, how to slip into places unnoticed. My skills grew sharper every day, fueled by hatred. I became someone else. Not the man they betrayed. Not the son or brother they discarded. I became a hunter. And my family became prey. The first time I saw Daniel up close, I almost lost control. It was a humid Miami night, the kind where the air feels heavy and every breath tastes like salt water and gasoline. He stumbled out of a nightclub, his shirt half open, his gold watch gleaming under the streetlights. A group of shallow friends surrounded him, laughing too loud, spending money that wasn't theirs. My money. I stood across the street, hidden in the shadows of a broken street lamp, and clenched my fists until my nails dug into my palms. Every laugh, every careless move he made was fuel on the fire. But I couldn't move too soon. Revenge wasn't about rage, it was about precision. So I followed. Daniel lived in a penthouse suite with bulletproof glass, high-tech cameras, and private security. He had learned something from our father. Money doesn't just buy comfort, it buys safety. But safety can make a man lazy. Safety makes him predictable. For weeks I observed. I memorized every guard's shift, every blind spot in the building's cameras, every late-night delivery that passed through the service elevator. I even befriended a janitor, slipping him a few $100s to ask harmless questions. Harmless to him at least. And then came the crack I was waiting for. Daniel had a weakness. A woman. Her name was Vanessa. A model, maybe 23, barely older than the champagne bottle he carried everywhere. She was stunning, yes, but more importantly she was careless. She left doors unlocked. She whispered passwords too loudly. She lived like danger didn't exist. I decided to make her my entry point. One night, while Daniel was out gambling, I followed Vanessa home. She parked her car, stumbled into the building, and left her purse in the hallway for nearly 3 minutes before remembering it. 3 minutes. That was all I needed. I cloned her keycard. The next night I was inside. The penthouse smelled like arrogance. Expensive cologne, new leather, imported cigars. I moved like a shadow through his home, memorizing every detail. His safe behind the painting. His liquor cabinet filled with bottles older than me. His laptop, glowing faintly on the marble counter. I didn't touch a thing. Not yet. I just wanted him to know I could. So I left a message. On his mirror, I traced 4 words with a black marker. I am still here. Then I slipped back into the night. The news the next morning was delicious. Daniel was panicked, furious, screaming at his guards. He fired half of them, doubled his security, even called the police. But deep down he knew the truth. No lock, no guard, no bulletproof glass could keep me out. That was the night my war truly began. After that night, I didn't strike again immediately. No, patience was my weapon. Let Daniel stew in fear. Let him waste money on more cameras, more guards, more false safety. Instead, I attacked where he felt untouchable, his digital life. Daniel had always mocked me for being the nerd. When we were kids, he'd rip apart my old computers, laugh at my obsession with code, and tell me I'd never make real money sitting behind a screen. Now those same skills were the knife at his throat. Through Vanessa's carelessness, I had access to his Wi-Fi. From there it was child's play. His emails. His bank accounts. His private chats with politicians and dealers. Every dirty secret he had buried under mountains of cash, I unearthed. But I didn't expose them. Not yet. Instead, I planted whispers. One morning, Daniel woke to find an email on his personal account. How much is your life worth? The next day, a text appeared on his phone from an unknown number. Your blood smells like money. And then late at night, his laptop turned on by itself. The screen flashed white. And a single message appeared. You can't hide from family. I imagined him pacing, sweating, screaming at his guards to sweep the place, hurling his phone against the wall. I imagined him pouring another drink just to calm his shaking hands. The fear was working. But fear alone wasn't enough. He had to bleed. It happened 2 weeks later. Daniel had a routine. Every Thursday night after midnight, he left the penthouse with 2 guards to visit a private gambling den. The place was exclusive. No cameras, no outsiders, no risks. Or so he thought. I waited for him in the parking garage. The guards walked ahead, scanning the shadows. They weren't amateurs, but they weren't me. When Daniel stepped out of the elevator, laughing drunkenly, I struck. A pipe to the back of the first guard's skull. Down. A blade across the other's throat. Silence. And Daniel? He froze. For the first time in his life, I saw him without the shield of arrogance. Just a man, small, vulnerable, terrified. Who are you? He stammered. I stepped into the light, mask over my face, and whispered just loud enough for him to hear. Family doesn't forget. His eyes widened. His lips trembled. He tried to run, but I pressed the blade against his neck, just enough to draw a thin line of blood. Not tonight, I whispered. But soon. Then I vanished into the darkness, leaving him shaking, drenched in sweat, the bodies of his guards sprawled at his feet. By the time the police arrived, I was long gone. The story hit the news the next morning. Billionaire's guards slain in brutal attack. But the police had nothing. No prints. No cameras. No witnesses. Just a ghost. And Daniel knew exactly which ghost had come back to haunt him. Daniel didn't sleep for days after the attack. He doubled his guards, tripled his security budget, even hired private mercenaries to shadow him. But no matter how many men with guns surrounded him, I could see it in his eyes when he appeared on the news. Fear. And fear makes people sloppy. I began tearing at the seams of his empire. First, I hacked his company's servers. Years of shady deals, bribes, tax evasion, human trafficking contracts hidden behind shell corporations. I downloaded everything. I didn't release it all at once. No, I leaked it drop by drop, enough to cause whispers in the financial sector, enough to make his business partners nervous. Then I went after his allies. Politicians who took his money suddenly received anonymous packages with photos, bank statements, hotel records. Some denied it. Others panicked. One even resigned live on television, trembling, insisting he wouldn't go down with Daniel. His foundation, The one he built to polish his image as a philanthropist, crumbled when the press discovered it was laundering money. His stock crashed. Investors fled. But my favorite part was watching Vanessa. She had no idea who was behind this, but I saw her on her Instagram stories, crying, terrified, begging her followers for positive energy. The perfect little mask of luxury cracking, showing the ugly truth beneath. Every time they tried to rebuild, I was already there, one step ahead, cutting the legs out from under them. Daniel wasn't just losing money. He was losing trust. And a man like him lives on trust. But I wasn't finished. See, Daniel thought he knew me. He thought I was still the broken kid he abandoned years ago. He thought he could predict my moves, maybe even negotiate with me. So I gave him exactly what he wanted, a chance to negotiate. One evening, I left an envelope on his desk. Inside, a phone with a single number saved. And a note. Talk or bleed. He called, of course. His voice was trembling, but he tried to hide it behind bravado. You think you're smart? Whoever you are, you don't know who you're messing with. I didn't answer right away. Just silence, letting him squirm. Then finally I whispered, You don't recognize my voice? The pause on the line was long. I could almost hear his heartbeat through the static. No. It's impossible. Not impossible, I said. I'm the ghost you left to die. The brother you buried with lies. Silence again. Then, softly he muttered, Alex? Hearing my name in his voice, that was the moment I knew he was breaking. But I didn't give him time to recover. You'll lose everything, Daniel. Your money. Your empire. Your pride. And when there's nothing left, I'll take you too. Then I hung up. That night, he destroyed his office in a drunken rage. I know because I was watching through his own security cameras. And I smiled. Because for the first time in his life, my brother was powerless. Daniel thought money could still save him. When the leak started to burn deeper, he hired killers, ex-special forces, mercenaries from places no one dares to name. Men who were supposed to be ghosts themselves. But ghosts can't hunt a shadow. They followed dead ends. Every time they thought they found me, they'd open a laptop that exploded with paint, not shrapnel. They'd raid apartments only to discover walls covered in newspaper clippings about Daniel's crimes. Each failure was a message. I wasn't hiding. I was circling. The paranoia ate him alive. He moved houses every 2 days. Slept with the lights on. Sat at dinners with his pistol under the table. Even Vanessa started to fear him. Because fear makes people cruel. And one night, after another fight, Daniel struck her. Cameras caught it. I made sure they did. By morning, the footage was everywhere. The internet ripped him apart. Sponsors abandoned him. His last allies closed their doors. He was bleeding on all sides, but he still didn't understand. I hadn't touched him yet. When a man loses everything, he runs to the only thing he believes he can still control: violence. Daniel announced he would host a private charity event, but I knew it was bait. He wanted me to show up, wanted his mercenaries to catch me in the open. So I gave him what he wanted. I arrived in silence, dressed as one of his staff. No mask, no fear. Only calm. Because the trap wasn't his. It was mine. The lights went out halfway through his speech. Panic erupted. People screamed. I walked calmly through the darkness until I was standing only a few feet away from him. When the emergency lights flickered on, Daniel saw me. And for the first time in his life, he wasn't the predator. He reached for his gun, but when he pulled the trigger, nothing. I had switched the magazine hours earlier. Gasps echoed through the hall as I whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear. He sold me for money. Buried me alive. And now he begs for mercy. Cameras captured everything. Every terrified flicker of his eyes. Every desperate word. The world finally saw the truth. Daniel was arrested days later, but prison was never my plan. Prison is too clean. Too simple. I let the system chew him apart. Every deal he made came crawling out. Every friend he thought he had turned witness to save themselves. The empire he built in blood crumbled into dust, and he rotted behind bars, powerless, forgotten. Vanessa vanished. Some say she fled the country. Some say she overdosed. I didn't care enough to find out. As for me, I didn't stay to watch him decay. Revenge isn't about standing over the corpse. It's about balance. It's about showing the monster that even the smallest shadow can eclipse his sun. So I disappeared. A ghost again. But this time, not one born from betrayal. This time I chose it. Years later, I received a letter. No sender. Just a prison stamp. Inside was one sentence written in shaky, fading ink. Brother, was it worth it? I didn't reply. Because some questions deserve silence. And some ghosts deserve no peace.